Okay, this is our man key section. All right. We're going to simplify what we do by breaking it down by schemes that the tackles face and the noses face and schemes that the ends face. All right. We don't do the same thing. So we work on different blocking schemes, and we simplify it to 1 to 3 different blocking schemes that they'll face and or in a particular week that they're going to face. So say, for instance, if a team doesn't run zone, then we don't really practice zone plays. Obviously, most of the teams run zone, but basically what I'm saying is that we're going to try to simplify this as much as possible so that we can maximize our repetition. In this case right here, I'm working on 3 technique play away, all right, and a combination block. Now you watch the tackle, he's got to do a little better job, the offensive tackle, of going to cut this guy off, but it's a non-padded practice. I'm very, very, very important that we attack the guard, okay? Attack the guard, and we get great hand placement. We talk about hand placement, talk about shoulder plate and shoulder plate, okay? And shoulder, cuff, and chest plate, all right? Shoulder, cuff, and chest plate. It's very important that we do that. Attack, okay? And then run the trench. Very important that you don't allow that guy to run up the field. Because a lot of times what young guys will do is they'll run up the field thinking that the play will be made at the point where the running back gets the ball. You want to run to where he is going to be, not to where he is, where he's going to be. We want to run that trench. So he's doing a good job there attacking. Now again, the offense got to be a little bit better pitcher there. But I'm going to give him a ball key, and we're going to run that trench and run down that line. Same thing here. Attack the guard, run the trench. You'll hear me talking to the guys all the time about running the trench. See how he's flat down that line? That's exactly where I want him to be. Don't run up the field. This is simulating the zone play, right? Don't run up the field. So now they're going to cut this because that ball's designed to wind back. We got a guy sitting there. But if you run up the field, we're going to be a gap short, okay? We want to run that trench. They keep it front side. All right, they keep it front side, then we'll be right in the trench. We'll be right there to make that tackle. But one of the things, again, we can't do is run up the field and create what we talk about air. Now we're going to work some pull schemes, okay? I'm going to allow the offensive lineman to change the split and level. We're going to over-exaggerate it. It's probably never going to be that prevalent. If it is, we're going to have about 10 TFLs. But when that guard is pulling, we look for the splits and levels to change. So we tell our guys as an indicator to look for that split and level to change right there. As a general rule, he'll have this rule. If the center is on your hip, on your backside shoulder, you should backdoor that. If you get face-to-face with the center, you should then cross-face. That's the simple rule of that pull scheme. And this guy does a good job of getting skinny at the point of attack. Watch. Get skinny. Because he knows what's going to happen. If that scheme is pulling there, someone's got to be responsible to block him. Also, it's going to be a trap, and that's a whole different ballgame. These guys trying to get in the shade here and going up down near the mountain. Same thing here, though. Okay? Same thing. If he's on my backside shoulder or on my hip, obviously the center going to be a little better than what that guy's doing. But I just want him to get the read. And there's no false step. I'm telling them to read here, all right? But, you know, I'll change the drill on them. If I think they're overplaying the drill, then we'll go reach scheme to that. He does a great job here. Watch him get skinny at the point of attack. That's your power plays away. Now, the ends will work separately, okay, in our man key section. The ends will work separately here, okay? So in this case right here, we're working on a reduction. We do as much scheme work versus base as we do with movement. And it's very important that you work on schemes when you're moving, because you're telling a guy, get into the B gap, get into the B gap. And what happens is you draw a picture of it. You draw the guy running into the B gap. That's awesome. Well, offensive people usually move when they're running a play, right? So for that reason, we work on these schemes versus movement. So right now, we're telling that guy to reduce into that B gap, and the play is going away from him. And again, they should run a trench. That backside 92, probably too much air. Got to use the line as a reference. Run down the line and run the trench. Now we go on two-gap movement here. You seen us work this in the shoot. Okay? Hey, too much hopping right there. It's a shuffle, gather, step, and that prevents one of two things, the reason why we do it like this. One of two things. When you lead step crossover, you're always going to talk to the guy about not getting washed. By us keeping our shoulders square, one, you're able to read the gap faster, and two, you're able to get vertical when the play finally disperses. So this is why we do it this way. Some guys I know teach on two-gap movement, lead step crossover. I'm always concerned with lead step crossover that guy, you're always worried about that guy getting washed. Now in this case right here, now we're working another read form. Again, this is a movement, okay? This is a movement where that end is the near arm player. As a base rule, we go man on, near back, backside. So what we do is we give him a man on read, which is a veer release inside, then his eyes got to go to the near back. He's got to now know in his responsibility whether or not he's a spill player or a box player. In this case right here, he's going to be a box player. A lot of times when you talk to kids about being box players, they think they can be up the field. What happens is, in this picture, if 95 were to take that in, okay, and knock him out of what we call a crease, it's the same thing as if he had spilled that. So we got to do a great job of reducing the crease, reducing the area, and when that guy comes, we're going to box him. Now, if we're in a base situation, he would spill that and get under it. But this is part of our man key section. That is just not base stuff because we do enough movement to complement what we do in a base situation. Okay, now, this is just 5 technique, play 2. Okay, we're at 5 technique. We're not to the open side there. In this case, if there was a tight end there, he would have a 9 technique on him. So we would create a one-on-one block. They can't really team block that. They can block down on you. That's a whole nother section. They can block down on you, and then you get the down and wrap. That's a different story. But when you get in this just base block, that must-read situation where they're trying to create a vertical lane, you got to know how to attack that. So for intensive purposes of the drill, we attack it, and then what we do is we leverage it and convert our power hand. In a base situation, the power hand is going to start out as being the gap hand. Okay, that is going to attack the shoulder plate. Okay, and the shoulder cuff and the chest plate by the inside hand. So that'll be the down hand. The down hand will be on the chest plate, and the outside hand, which is the left hand in this case, in this picture, will be on the shoulder cuff. Now we're working again. We go to set the edge. We're involved in zone pressure. You got to work on it. You can't just tell the kid to drop and not give him a responsibility. So now he reads play away. He goes to set his feet because initially he'll set the edge, and then he becomes our fold player. So he becomes that linebacker depth.